Picture the scene. The roar of the crowd is deafening. Mario, the iconic plumber, adjusts his cap and crouches at the starting line for the 100-meter dash. But in the lane next to him isn't his usual spiky blue rival, Sonic the Hedgehog. Instead, it's Pikachu, cheeks crackling with vibrant yellow electricity, ready to burst forward. A few lanes down, Mega Man, the blue bomber himself, calmly calibrates his arm cannon for the shooting event, his sights set on a target right next to the one being eyed by the legendary soldier, Solid Snake, who has inexplicably emerged from a cardboard box. In the arena next door, Link, the hero of Hyrule, draws the Master Sword, not for battle, but to pass a relay baton, while Chun-Li from Street Fighter prepares for a graceful gymnastics routine that could rival her spinning bird kick. And in the distance, you can hear the faint, earth-shaking power-up sounds of a character from the Dragon Ball universe. This is not some wild fanfiction crossover you'd find in the deepest corners of the internet. This was a real, concrete, meticulously considered plan for an official video game. A plan that came agonizingly close to reality, and its ultimate failure reveals a fascinating, frustrating, and deeply revealing story about the high-stakes business of video games. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of gaming's greatest and most heartbreaking what-ifs. We're going to explore the secret, unbelievably ambitious vision for the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series that would have united the biggest icons from Nintendo, Sega, Capcom, Konami, Bandai Namco, and yes, even Sony and Microsoft. We'll dive deep into who revealed this secret history, which legendary characters were on the official wish list, and the exact corporate and legal reasons why this monumental crossover dream collapsed into dust. And finally, we'll uncover the sad, quiet reason why you might never see Mario and Sonic compete for Olympic gold ever again. The story begins with a series that was, in itself, a small miracle. For gamers who grew up in the 90s, the concept of Mario and Sonic sharing a screen was pure fantasy. This wasn't a friendly rivalry, it was a brutal console war. Sega's entire marketing identity was built on being the edgy, cool alternative to the family-friendly Nintendo, famously coining the aggressive slogan, "Genesis does what Nintendo don't." Mario and Sonic were the generals of two opposing armies, the faces of two competing empires. So, in 2007, when Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games was announced for the Nintendo Wii, it felt like the fall of the Berlin Wall for gamers. This historic peace treaty, signed on the digital fields of sport, spawned a beloved and surprisingly durable crossover series that lasted for over a decade. But by the time development began for what would become Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the developers at Sega had a vision that was far, far grander. This stunning revelation comes directly from a man who was in the room where it happened, Lee Cocker, the producer of the Mario and Sonic series. In a series of candid posts on social media, Cocker unveiled the breathtaking scope of their original plan. The team didn't just want to add a few fun guest characters. They wanted to blow the doors clean off the stadium. They wanted to create the single greatest crossover roster in the history of the medium, a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the entire world of gaming, and even anime. The list of franchises they actively pursued is a veritable who's who of pop culture royalty. Of course, the Mario family and the Sonic family would remain the foundational pillars. But Sega wanted to invite everyone to the party. They formally reached out to their industry rivals and partners, Capcom, Bandai Namco, and Konami. The franchises on the table were staggering. From Capcom, they wanted characters from both Street Fighter and Mega Man. Just imagine Ryu, the wandering world warrior, facing off against the surprisingly powerful Luigi in a judo match, or the colossal Zangief competing against Donkey Kong in a weightlifting event that would surely shatter records. Imagine Mega Man and Samus Aran from Metroid in a futuristic shooting competition. From Bandai Namco, they aimed for the stratosphere with Dragon Ball. The mind absolutely boggles at how they would have balanced a character like Goku or Vegeta in something like the high jump or the javelin throw, but the sheer, unadulterated spectacle would have been legendary beyond words. From Konami, the iconic and tonally opposite Metal Gear Solid series was on the list. Solid Snake, a master of stealth and espionage, competing in the Olympic shooting event? The comedic and epic potential writes itself. And crucially, from Nintendo's own massive backyard, the ambition didn't stop at just the Mushroom Kingdom crew. The plan was to bring in the world of The Legend of Zelda, and, perhaps most significantly, the global phenomenon of Pokémon. Can you actually picture it? Link and Princess Zelda competing side by side in the equestrian events, with Link on his faithful steed Epona and Zelda on a majestic white stallion. And in the very same event, they're competing against a Pokémon trainer gracefully riding a fiery Ponyta. That is the incredible level of ambition we are talking about. If the thought of seeing Pikachu use Quick Attack to sprint past Yoshi in a foot race gets your gamer heart racing, do us a favor and hit that like button to let us know you feel the hype. The ultimate vision was to create an Olympic Games that truly represented the entire global culture of gaming. But somehow, it gets even crazier. Cocker revealed that the development team even pursued properties and characters from Sony and Microsoft. Let that sink in for a moment. This was a game being planned as an ironclad exclusive for the Nintendo Switch. Yet, the developers had the sheer audacity to dream of including characters that are the very symbols, the flagship mascots of Nintendo's direct console competitors. We don't know for sure which characters were discussed, but it's not hard to let your imagination run wild. Imagine Master Chief from Microsoft's Halo series in the shooting events, or perhaps Marcus Fenix from Gears of War in the Rugby Sevens. And from Sony's side, imagine Kratos from God of War in the shot put, or Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn showcasing her archery skills against Link. It would have been an unprecedented gathering of the tribes, a digital G8 summit, a moment of corporate unity that would have dwarfed any crossover that came before it. So, what on earth happened? Why are we not playing this incredible, mind-blowing game right now? As Cocker painfully explained, the idea, while brilliant and creatively thrilling, was ultimately just too big, too complex, too politically fraught to exist. It collapsed under the immense weight of its own ambition. The primary culprit was the sheer logistical and legal nightmare of trying to strike deals with so many different, powerful, and competing companies. Each and every character on that list is a jealously guarded piece of intellectual property worth millions, if not billions of dollars. Getting a single company like Capcom to agree on how Ryu is portrayed is already a monumental task. Now imagine getting them to agree while also getting Konami to approve Solid Snake's appearance, and Bandai Namco to sign off on their character, all while trying to navigate the historic and ongoing rivalry between the big three, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. It proved to be an impossible task. Cocker even mentioned one specific detail that perfectly highlights the maddening complexity. Certain characters could only be used for certain events. This single quote pulls back the curtain on the labyrinth of negotiations. You can imagine one company's legal team saying, yes, you can use our character, but only for fencing, and they absolutely cannot be shown losing to a character from that other company. Another might demand that their character is always portrayed in a heroic light and gets a specific amount of screen time in the story mode. The approvals, the brand integrity clauses, the legal agreements, the royalty discussions, it all snowballed into a Gordian knot that no one, no matter how passionate, could untangle. Then there was the massive, unmovable hurdle of platform exclusivity. How do you possibly convince Sony to let their flagship character, be it Kratos or Nathan Drake, appear in a video game that you can only buy and play on a Nintendo console? You are essentially asking them to help advertise their biggest competitor's hardware. It's like asking Coca-Cola to feature the Pepsi logo in one of their commercials. The same goes for Microsoft. While the industry has become more collaborative in recent years with crossplay, a move like that, especially for a title that wasn't a generation-defining blockbuster, was almost certainly a non-starter for the executives at PlayStation and Xbox. And so, the grand dream faded away. The painful decision was made to retreat, to fall back on the tried-and-true formula. Stick with the familiar and beloved characters from the worlds of Mario and Sonic. The game that was eventually released, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is a fine game. It's polished, fun, charming, and a solid entry in the series. But knowing what it could have been casts a long, melancholic shadow over it. It's like looking at a beautiful, well-crafted painting and then learning it was originally planned to be a sprawling, epic mural covering an entire city block. It's still good, but you can't help but feel a profound sense of loss for the breathtaking spectacle that never was. It could have elevated the series from a fun, family-friendly crossover into a true, unmissable, historic gaming event. Unfortunately, the story gets even more bittersweet from here. For those of you holding out a sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll try this ambitious idea again for a future Olympics, Lee Cocker delivered another piece of sad news last year. The Mario and Sonic series is, for all intents and purposes, effectively dead. The partnership isn't ending because of any issues between Nintendo or Sega. According to Cocker, the International Olympic Committee itself, the IOC, has decided to go in a very different direction for its future video game endeavors. We don't know the exact details of this new direction, but it signals the definitive end of this specific, decade-plus-long partnership. It's a quiet, unceremonious end to a series that began with such a historic handshake between former enemies. It's a real shame, not just because the games were fun, but because they represented something special, a bridging of worlds that fans once thought was impossible. It's a bittersweet what-if story, isn't it? The thought of what we almost had is both thrilling and deeply heartbreaking. To make sure you don't miss more deep dives into gaming's biggest secrets and lost histories like this one, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. There's a slim chance, of course, that the series could be revived someday if the IOC's new ventures don't pan out. But it would likely be a very, very long time before we see Mario and Sonic competing for gold again. And the odds of that grand, multi-franchise crossover ever happening are even slimmer now than they were back then. The corporate walls are still high, and the magic alignment of stars needed for such a project is incredibly rare. So we are left to dream. We are left to imagine a world where Solid Snake and Mega Man are comparing scores at the shooting range, where Link and a Pokemon trainer are racing for equestrian glory, and where the world's greatest heroes from dozens of universes gather not for a battle to the death, but for the simple, pure spirit of competition. It was a beautiful idea, a very big idea that didn't happen. And the rich tapestry of gaming history is just a little bit